Welcome to
House of Whimsical Terror.
I'm Esther.
I'm Mary.
And we're here today in Tucson, Arizona with some of our very closest friends and family. And we have some stories. We're doing a campfire story circle like we did in Ireland, but now we're doing it Tucson style.
Right.
And one of my dearest friends, Alex, is here with us. And he has a story. And the name of his story is...
I'm Still Here.
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm excited. I have not heard the story, so I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, so this is not my story actually. It's my aunt's story. I have an Aunt Grace, who is my dad's youngest sister, and she's a person who is very interesting. She writes. At one point, she was writing 3 country music songs a day, just like out of the air. She's one of these people that the spirit just sort of flows through her, and she does these things. And she has this very interesting habit of noticing something odd in her life within a day of finding out that someone has died that is close to her. And so, and she tells these stories usually at as part of a memorial service. And so just last year, my Uncle Charlie, who was my dad's sister's husband, who I think was 97, he was very old, passed in Pennsylvania. And the role that my Uncle Charlie played in my Aunt Grace's life was sort of like another father figure to her. He was very helpful about doing things that she didn't feel comfortable doing, like buying cars. And he was a very competent person. He was an engineer, and he worked for DuPont, and he could fix anything. And so whenever she needed something fixed, she knew that she could count on Charlie to fix it for her. And so she lives in a condo in Northern Virginia in Washington, D.C., and she had a front porch light that had been not working for probably over a year. And it wasn't just a light bulb. There was some sort of short in the fixture or something, and she just hadn't gotten around to figuring out how to fix that. And the day before he died, she found out later, that light just started. Actually, the day after he died, that light just started working. And it worked for exactly 24 hours, and then it stopped working again. And about 24 hours later, she found out that he had passed, and she felt like that was a sign from him. It was a way for him to say goodbye to her. Like, because he was able to fix things, and so for 24 hours, his spirit was able to fix her porch light. And that's the story that she told at his memorial service last year when I went.
So, that is a great story.
So beautiful.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that so much.
Mm-hmm.
I have just a piggyback story. When my friend Kathy was here, and when there was one night I was sleeping in my apartment, and I woke up from just a dead sleep. Woke up, and there was a strange, kind of a white mist about human size next to my bed. And it felt like someone was trying to tell me something, or I was trying to communicate with this. It was just white mist, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then, and that was when your father passed. Yeah. Yeah. I thought I had, but yeah, it was a strange, I don't know why he would come visit me, but maybe so I could wake up and go be with you.
The same night he passed, his friend John Geisler was in Maine. They lived in Maine. And he woke up in the middle of the night screaming, "Bob, Bob." And then that day I called Mrs. Geisler to tell her that he had passed. She was like, "Oh my God, John woke up screaming your dad's name."
Oh, that is
wow.
amazing. So for those that might not have heard, Kathy was talking also about her dad and his good friend who was, entire country length away, woke up screaming his name on the night he passed. So thank you for that
beautiful
story.
stories.
And
Something that's unrelated.
Come join us on this topic.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's Cheyenne. Who is a guest from before, told an amazing story.
Yeah, I think it was Kyoto Hauntings.
Kyoto Hauntings, that was so good.
I do have a story already, but this one is more modern. For people who don't know, I quit my job like 3 years ago to go on a road trip to try to get to all 48 states and see as many national parks as I could. And I was living out of my car with my cat. And so we were driving all over every environment. Almost got sucked into a tornado in Mississippi.
I'm sorry.
I didn't tell a lot of people that.
Before you got to the tornado of Mississippi,
Yes.
did you guys hear that she was traveling? Did you guys hear that she was traveling in her car with
my
her
cat.
with her
Completely-
cat?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. Yeah. Completely alone. A lot of times I didn't have service, or I had to haul my water with me. I'm boiling water to take a shower in the winter. That's pretty gnarly. And my car is not very big. It's super small. It's a little Mitsubishi Mirage, so not like a lot of space. And I needed room for the litter box, so I couldn't bring like a fridge or anything that would matter. So I was eating literally the same 3 things every day. It was peanut butter and jelly, or peanut butter sandwiches because I couldn't store the jelly. Peanut butter and granola sandwiches, oatmeal, tea, and then ramen.
And lots of water.
And that's it. Yeah,
Lots of water.
that's it. And if I wanted to splurge, I'd buy myself a giant bag of popcorn, and then that would be my dinner sometimes when I wouldn't want to go out and eat my food.
Crazy.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, it was pretty hardcore. So I actually ran into a lot of like really creepy places when you're camping by yourself, and I had an affinity for camping in areas where people couldn't see me, that they didn't know I was there. So I would like hide my car. I would park behind a hillside. I would park behind like a line of trees, or I would just drive to the farthest spot I could get to where people weren't. Right? And so I would just be out in these places for days and not ever run into somebody. At a point, I didn't talk for like almost a week at one point, and I went to go to talk, and my voice was like croaky because I just had to use my voice. Well, on this trip, I was in Louisiana, and I always like to try to like get set up in a place and be there for a few hours before the sun went down so I could kind of like get the vibes of the area. And I couldn't even tell you what part of Louisiana I'm in, but it's some big highway, a lot of trees, a lot of leaves. It's kind of very fall-esque. There's like, the leaves are changing colors. It's like crackly leaves on the ground. It's kind of ideal. I liked being able to like hear if something was approaching me. And so I found this perfect place to park my car behind a hill a little bit off the highway, and anybody driving by would never see me, right? So no one would know I was there. There would be no reason to stop there either. It was a weird spot that like a bigger vehicle couldn't get to, but a little car could. And so I found the spot again about midday. It was hours long. So I'd been in this spot all day, and I could hear crows, and I would have the leaves fall on my tree, and it was like so picturesque, and it was perfect, and nobody knew I was there. I was in the shade. It was like ideal. And so as sun starts setting, the crows are getting louder because of the trees and the cover and how close to fall it is. The sun's going down pretty fast. And I remember as the sun started going down, I started getting kind of like weirdly nauseous out of nowhere. And that's my worst fear on this road trip, was getting sick, because there's no access to help for me. And I'm pretty far away from everything. So I was like, I can't be getting sick right now. So I'm chugging water. I'm eating. I got fruit snacks and dried fruit. I'm pounding. I'm doing like handfuls of nuts. You know what I mean? I'm like, maybe I'm just hungry, right? But no, I'm getting more and more nauseous, like ill, like I want to throw up just breathing. And I'm like, why am I so sick? Like, I don't feel good. Like, I'm like, I don't know, like, I have to decide to drive to someplace now before the sun fully sets. And at this point, it's too dark now. I'm kind of trapped. I'm too ill to drive at night as I am. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's just going to be a long night. And so I'm settling into the car, and I have to keep my eyes half open, half closed, because opening them makes me want to throw up, and closing them, I really want to throw up. So I'm like kind of like in this just like state of just trying not to move, try not to activate the nausea anymore, when I hear something scrape along my car. And at first I'm like, it's a tree branch. And I go, no, because I've been at this site all day and nothing has scraped against the car. The wind's blowing, trees are falling. And it wasn't like a leaf skittering.
Like an urban legend. That is so scary.
Exactly, like the hook hand.
Yes, the hook hand.
Like a distinctive scrape. And I was like, surely not. And just in the like fear of that, like when I realized, like when I talked myself out of like, oh, it was a tree branch, I was like, no, it was too loud and too distinct. Like for a second, the fear, I was like not nauseous. And I was like, thank God. And I'm like, hey, maybe I'm getting better. Right? No, the wave of nausea came back and I was like, oh, this is bad. And I was like, okay, let me go back to like trying to meditate out of this sickness. Sure enough, the scrape again, louder, longer, more distinct. And I said, nope. So I pull my car out from behind. I was like between two hills. I pull my car forward a little bit. So now I'm visible from the highway. I'm like exposed, but this time I'm not between any hills and I'm not under any trees. I'm basically in an open area.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing around me. I had my headlights on, so I checked the ground. There's nothing on the ground. It's flat, smushed down grass from other cars driving, like ATVs and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm in this open area. I can see the highway, and I'm like, okay, whatever was scraping can't scrape anymore. So I settle in, and I'm still super nauseous. And I hear a thump scrape again. And there is no way. There's nothing there. There's nothing. Before, I could write it off. Maybe some branch I missed, but I was in that car for hours before the sun set, and it never made that sound. So I was like, I have to, as ill as I am, I have to drive. I have to get out of here. And I don't like that. It's a thump and a scrape. No. I'm literally too ill to drive. So I drive out of the area I was in, and I literally get right next to the highway because I'm about to get back on it, and all my nausea, like a finger snap.
Oh.
I'm completely fine. It was like a pressure had been building the entire time. That lifted. The nausea lifted. And I was like, oh,
that gave me the shivers.
Didn't want me in that area.
Yep.
I literally moved maybe 25 feet out from it.
Wow.
And it was fine. Completely different vibes. I stayed
amazing.
the night right there next to the highway. But for whatever reason, 30 feet this way, I wasn't allowed in that area.
You were probably on someone's grave from...
Or some kind of...
I had moved like the 10 feet out of the thing, but
and then you were fine.
What was going on at
so
night,
that nausea was not physical. It was spiritual somehow.
And that's after the first scrape, like in the second one, I was like, that's so distinct. I literally did a walk around my car to see like the tree branch. Is there a bush somewhere? I was like, there wasn't, because I'm like, if I get a flat tire out here, I have a spare, full spare in case something happened. But I was like, I can't, like, if something happens to my vehicle, if I get sick or injured, that might be it for me and like my cat. So I was very precautious about my vehicle and my safety. And so like,
that was pretty pronounced.
To be kicked out of that area, and it's literally 25 feet away.
Yeah.
I'm safe.
Yeah.
But that's what you needed to do is leave that area.
Yeah, I didn't want me there.
Cheyenne, thank you for that story. And Alex, thank you. And Kathy, thank you for letting me drag you into that story. And until next time, good friends.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
We just totally got stuck on our own outro.
No, I pushed it because I want to. Let people have their story.
We're going to wrap this one up. And there's like a whole bunch more. So keep listening.